here I am in front of the train order board. I have cleared it and then I've populated it. I believe those are all backwards now because it's a reverse screen. But I want to kind of go through the steps. Let me show you some still shots and then I'll also show you some action photos as I go along. I wrote up the steps for clearing the train order board. So this is a training video on how to set up a new train order board. We'll start with step 1, which is to start with the worksheet of Proviso Yard. So let me show you that. So this is the first step to figure out where the current trains are in Proviso Yard. So this is the origination of the trains, and then this is where they will end up going. So a westbound train, which is on this side right here, this is the Proviso Yard UP side. Those are going westbound, and they will end up in the eastbound tracks, which are these in the Chicago Northwestern Proviso Yard, and these are going eastbound, which is that direction. Westbound is that direction. So right now you can look at the yards and see that the Chicago Northwestern yard is totally full and the westbound yard is empty. So I will be running probably more eastbound trains to clear out this room, and then they'll enter into the westbound yards. But these westbound trains will end up over in the eastbound. I hope that makes sense. But this is step 1, to figure out where the cars are leaving from and where the trains are going to enter. Okay, let's show you step 2, is to highlight the open dates on the last runs. So step 2, this is the sheet I use. It shows all the different trains. So all the different trains right here, 2A, 2B, C, 3A, 5A through 5D. These are the different trains I run. And this is the train, the power. And when I run the power with these different trains is shown over here. So I highlight each one that I want to use for this session. So I do this for every locomotive and every train. So there's 3 sheets of this. And those highlighted pieces will play a big role in this in part 3. Okay, then step 3, we chart out the last run and power choices. So let me show you that. So those gaps I filled, I charted that out by train types and then by locomotives here. And then I can see a grid on what trains and what locomotives are available. And I try to run 1 train per train order board session. So B2 I've got assigned here. B3 is I haven't assigned B3, but B4 is here. I don't have one here. I do have one here, one here, one here, and one here. So, and then if there's any gaps, I can just fill those in. Step 4 is next. All right, so now step 4, we go back to step 1 and look at that chart, and then we figure out what directions they go, when they leave, when they arrive, and I'll show you what that looks like. So back at Proviso Yard, I look at the full yard. So 5D is going to be eastbound, and it's going to exit the Chicago Northwestern eastbound yard in Proviso Yard, and it's going to enter the Proviso Yard UP yard, track 3, and I have that shown right up here. So 5D right here leaves, and it arrives it arrives down here in the UP yard, track Let's see, that's track 5. Actually, it comes in here on track 3, and the front part ends up at track 5. So it leaves here in the eastbound, and it arrives here in the westbound yard for the next trip. So I do that with all the trains, and this is the order: 5D, 5A, 5B, 3A, 5C, and then 2B. And I'll need that to fill in the train order board. Let's go to step 5. All right, step 5, assign power to each train. The goal is to have each locomotive run during this session. So let's go to the train order board now. So here we are at the train order board. First thing I did was to take that grid and then put down the power assigned to each train. So over here are all the trains: 2A, 2A, 2B, 2C, 3A, 4A, 5A through D, and then all the commuter trains. And all of these will be matched up like that. Here's all the power I have signed up based on how often they run. These are all the power assigned to each of those trains. So that is step 5. And then step 6, assign sequence numbers. So back to the train order board. So these sequence right here, I'm not at the train order board yet, but these trains here have to be in this sequence from the yard, from the proviso yard. So now I'll incorporate those into the commuter sequence. Now let's check that out. All right, the sequence numbers go right here. So we start, it's the green numbers. So the very first job I'm going to do is right here. I'm going to troubleshoot this commuter train 1E. In fact, let me show you that one on the layout. Last Monday, Rob started taking this out. This is the train that, if you look at the number, 7831, 8701, and 8761, they all end in 1 because they are stored in track 1 at the Chicago terminal, right here against the wall. That's track 1. So this train has to do, I have to troubleshoot. So that is going to be the first assignment on the new train order board. Let's go back to the train order board and look at number 2. So number 2 is another kind of a setup. I've got 4 cars at the industrial park transfer track. They're right now at the different facilities. So I'm going to be using the switcher over there. In fact, let's go over there and take a look. All right, here on the model is the industrial park. These train leads. There's 2 cars right there at 2 shops. And there's 2 cars right here. So those 4 cars need to be switched using the Hawk, the SD40-2. That is going to be switching those trains to the transfer track, which is right over here by the Oak Park Lombard Station. That is the transfer track. It's the 3rd track from the outside. The 2 main lines are on the outside, and the inside track is the transfer track. So I will put those cars over there for the next train that leaves. Now what's really interesting is that those cars belong to 5D. Well, the next sequence train is going to be 3. So, and that's train 5D. So on lap 3, it will pick up those 4 cars on the transfer track. I'll put a note, I think, right here to make sure that happens. And I will add this sheet here to the paperwork for track 3 so they know they have to pick that up. That'll be in their manifest. Okay, one more thing. I've decided to go ahead and put all the freight. I have the freight in a certain order based on the proviso yard switch list, but I've also incorporated the commuter train. So let me just show you that real quick. So you've got a freight tray leaving eastbound from Proviso Yard. That's 3. The fourth one will be a commuter train leaving westbound from Chicago Terminal. So we can run these at the same time, or one back and forth, or back to back. But then 4, 5 is back to a mixed freight. This will be the westbound to clear more tracks in the UP yard. And then 6 is another commuter. It kind of goes back and forth. So here's my freight train is going westbound. And then I run my commuter train, number 6 sequence, will be eastbound. All right, so 7 is another freight going eastbound. So 8 is probably a commuter train going westbound. See how that works? And then it just keeps going up to the final number is 16 and then 17. That's the last. There's 17 trains that will run on this train order board starting tomorrow, February 1st. And the last step is assign clipboards to specifications. So over here, let's go back to the train order board. So on the train order board, I will have all of these. Oh, you know what? I haven't done this part yet. I got to finish. But let me explain this. These red ones are solos. I can run these anytime, but I'll do them in order. Solo unit train going westbound to Powder River Basin. And then 2 is the piggyback train. That's a westbound going, leaving Global 2 and entering Global 2. So that doesn't affect any other yards. The excursion train goes westbound from the excursion station and returns to the excursion station. So there's no interference with any yards for that one. And then 4, it can be run anytime too. This is the Amtrak that goes only westbound from Chicago Terminal back to Chicago Terminal. So I can run those solo trains anytime within the mix of the sequence. So that's why I have them separate. They have their own 1, 2, 3, and 4 clipboards. I can show you that right now. So these are the clipboards. 1A is for the coal train. 2B is for the piggyback train. Clipboard 3C is for the excursion. And the clipboard 4D is for the Amtrak train right here. So these are the manifest sheets that I use for each of those runs. And those will probably be reserved for those all the time. So let's find out, let's finish the clipboards. Okay, so then I just have these 3 other clipboards. I think I'm going to be changing this because 5E here is for the 1E. That's going to be for number 1, the priority 1 train. This is number 2 sequence train is going to be on 6F. And then 7G is 5D. That's this third sequence, if you remember. So let me write these up and show you what it looks like on the train order board. All right, well, I did have it all right. So I'm going to probably make 4 more clipboards for the priority trains. Maybe I'll go buy some red clipboards or something because I need more clipboards to show the green ones. So I only have, after 4D, I just have 5E, 6F, and 7G. So I don't really have a lot of paperwork ready for when the next train comes up, because those priority trains they stay with that clipboard. So I'm going to get 4 more clipboards and do that a little different for next time. Well, that's it for train order board. We're ready to start a new train series, and I'm looking forward to running those trains and see how long it takes. It takes 3 to 4 months to finish. So sometimes I work on projects while I'm down here, and that takes place of running trains. But we've made a lot of progress down here in the last few months, even while I've been running trains too. So looking forward to keeping you informed. Thanks for watching this far. It's already been like 12 minutes, so I like to keep them short. This is a little long, but thanks for watching. Well, I did figure out a new way of numbering the clipboards. So up here, I have 8 clipboards that show the sequence. Here are the 8 clipboards with the sequence, and then the 4 that are solo trains. They're separated on their own stand. So I got that figured out, and this is what it looks like. So the clipboards, the S solo clipboards, there's 4 of them, and then there's 8 other clipboards that are all shown here: 8, 6, 4, 3, 7, 5, and then 1 and 2 down there. So that's all taken care of, all set. Thanks for watching the addendum.